Indonesia is one of the largest markets in the world for aerospace. I mean, the growth will be very, very large here over the coming years, and Canada is an aerospace superpower. So I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think the people-to-people ties are the engine of growth, right? Between any two relationships. I would say that it's a great country to visit, to study, but also we have a lot of the technologies and a lot of the trades that I think will be very, very relevant to Indonesia as it continues to grow to be a top 5 economy by 2050. In the current geopolitical environment, but also looking forward, Canada is a trusted and reliable partner, long-term partner for Indonesia, not in terms of our mutual economic growth, but also in ensuring peace and security.
Hi, hello, how are you? I'm Iqbal Sweetami Harja. Welcome to Jakarta Globe Corner. It's a pleasure for us to have you. The relationship between Canada and Indonesia has entered an exciting new chapter as the global economy faces shifting supply chain, geopolitical uncertainty, and changing trade dynamics. Countries are increasingly looking beyond traditional partnership to build more resilient, trusted, and future-oriented cooperations. Meanwhile, Indonesia and Canada have much more in common than many people realize. Both are committed to openness, innovation, sustainable development, and strengthening a stable Indo-Pacific. And with the signing of the Indonesia-Canada Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, or ICA-CEPA, there is growing optimism that this partnership can expand well beyond trade into investment, education, clean technology, people-to-people exchange, of course, and long-term strategic collaborations. Today, we look forward to exploring Canada's version for this partnership and how both countries can seize new opportunities in an increasingly interconnected world. And this opportunity, we have His Excellency Ambassador Jess Dutton. Welcome to Jakarta Globe Corner.
Thank you, Iqbal. It's great to be here.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. First of all, how are you?
I'm great. I'm thrilled to be here.
I can see that. I love you wearing this batik.
It's one of my favorite batiks, so hopefully it looks okay on television.
It is looking great. So, Mr. Ambassador, straight to the questions regarding the global trade landscape, of course. I know maybe this is the tough questions first before we go to the chill questions one. With global protectionism rising and major economies adjusting tariff regimes, what are Canada's strategies to maintain competitiveness and resilience, Mr. Ambassador? And how do you see the importance of deepening cooperation in this era?
Well, I think that's a great question, and I think it's a question that all countries are reflecting on these days in light of the global landscape that you mentioned. I'll say a few things. I guess Canada, we're investing in Canada. We're an energy superpower. We have a wealth of natural resources, critical minerals, and energy. And so we are investing in these resources. We're investing in infrastructure to get these resources to market. And we have a very ambitious plan to invest in Canada. And that's really, really important. Of course, having said that, it's important to diversify our trading partners, right? So we are looking to diversify in the Indo-Pacific, Africa, Europe, and beyond. And of course, that's where Indonesia is critical, I think, to Canada, because not only Indonesia, but of course, the Indo-Pacific region, it will be the engine of growth over the next century. And of course, Indonesia will be a top 5 economy by 2050. So it's important, it's important for this partnership to develop and grow. And that's one of the reasons why we recently signed last September a comprehensive economic partnership agreement. I would argue that agreement is more important today than when we started negotiating in 2021. And I think that will be a great foundation for further trade and investment between our two countries and diversifying our markets.
Speaking of diversifying, markets has been considered as the most ideal solution amidst these tariff dynamics, Mr. Ambassador. I would like to also seek your point of view regarding the tariff dynamics that is set by the USA. What about Canada? What do you think of the potential of the Asia-Pacific market, especially Indonesia?
Well, I think there's great potential. Tariffs or no tariffs, Canada would be looking to invest and to diversify our trade in this region. Just because if you look at the demographics, if you look at the growth, if you look at the potential, the resources, the people, it's a very dynamic region and very dynamic economies. Indonesia itself is the fourth largest country in the world. It has a huge middle class, a growing population, an educated population, and there are lots of opportunities for both of our countries to diversify our trade. New markets, there are areas which are well known, which we both trade in, but there are new opportunities coming forward over the coming decades, and it's important for both countries to seize those opportunities, because this is ultimately, it's an important partnership of which trade is one component.
One of the most important, I guess.
Yes.
So speaking, the Indonesia-Canada Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement has been signed in September 2025, Mr. Ambassador, and has been drawing attention from businesses on both sides, of course. What strategic objective actually does Canada hope CEPA will achieve beyond tariff reduction?
So, this is a comprehensive economic partnership agreement. So it goes beyond an FTA, right? That's just tariffs and market access. And so what this agreement does is it really gives predictability to trade. And that's what businesses need. They need predictability and they need rules. And so this partnership agreement, it has chapters on critical minerals. It has, agricultural protocol, SPS dialogue. There are many elements to it that I think really expand the relationship beyond trade. And we look to deepen our partnership in many, many areas.
So speaking of the areas itself, do you think that in what sectors that very potential in both countries, especially maybe your point of view to see the Indonesia is very having like the strengths in, for example, nickel or mineral or any other?
So I think, they're different yet similar in some respects. Both, the Indonesian and Canadian economies are similar in the sense that we have some large companies, but the engine of growth, it's really the small and medium-sized enterprises. And so we actually have a chapter in supporting the trade and the growth of these small and medium-sized enterprises. And we're actually, through our international assistance program, investing in the capacity of small and medium-sized enterprises here in Indonesia to trade. From a Canadian perspective, we have a great deal of trade in agriculture, but we see lots of potential in new technologies, artificial intelligence, clean technologies, energy. So there are lots of opportunities there. And of course, on the Indonesian side, there's some, agri-food, processed food, fishery products, sustainable forestry, these kind of things that I think and of course, merchandise and apparel. And I think Canada is a very important market and a potential for real growth.
So for both sides, it is very important. What's the current progress of this ratification of ICA-CEPA, Mr. Ambassador, and technical regulation, of course?
Yeah, well, I'm pleased to say that last May, Canada ratified the agreement that officially made it through our democratic process, so through our House of Commons and our Senate, and was signed by our Governor General. So we're really pleased about that. And I understand the Indonesian government has made a decision that their ratification will be through presidential regulation, and we anticipate that will be done in the coming months. So we're really excited about ratification and then implementation.
The implementation is, I think, also being expected from the business players. Speaking of the business players and investors from Canada's perspective, how is important actually the CEPA in providing certainty and confidence for long-term investors? Because Indonesia is, of course, looking for the long-term investors and supply chain partnership.
So, the implementation is kind of the hardest bit, right? Like right now, we have, I think it's about 900 pages. So it's just paper, right? And so implementation, education. So companies in Indonesia, in Canada, are aware of the opportunities is really, really important. But, and what's interesting about this agreement, I mean, it is what it is right now, but there's a potential to renew the agreement in a 5-year period. So areas of growth that perhaps countries hadn't identified during the negotiation process, we can look to negotiate that in a 5-year period. But, I think for all of the areas that you mentioned, whether it be critical minerals, whether it be clean technologies, there is great opportunity for growth. And rules are important. Predictability is important. And I think this CEPA provides companies in both countries and investors with the certainty that they need to go forward with long-term investment decisions.
So based on the records, is the investor from Canada really worried before the CEPA?
No, they're not. It's not that they're worried, but this is, you have CEPAs for a reason, and they give predictability to the relationship, right? And that's on both sides, right? From the Canadian side, but also the Indonesian side. And I think that predictability is really important, because if you're looking to invest, if a company is looking to invest, they want to know what the rules are. And they want to know, okay, we want our investment to be predictable for our shareholders.
So based on Indonesia-Canada trade patterns, Mr. Ambassador, which Indonesian export sectors do you see as having the strongest potential for further growth in the Canadian market and vice versa?
So, I think there's lots of potential for growth. Two ways. I will say that, and both sides would agree that our trading relationship has been underperforming. Right? The numbers aren't where they should be. It's just shy of $7 billion a year of two-way trade in Indonesia's favor, I might add. So I think Indonesia sees lots of opportunities in the agricultural sector, in textiles, in manufacturing, fabrics, these kind of things and of course, small, medium-sized enterprises and sustainable forestry. I mean, Indonesian furniture is world-renowned. So I think there are lots of opportunities there. And for us, it's really energy, clean technologies. I think aerospace. Indonesia is one of the largest markets in the world for aerospace. I mean, the growth will be very, very large here over the coming years. And Canada is an aerospace superpower. So I think there are lots of potential in these new technologies. I will also say that our economies are different yet similar. Similar in the sense that we're very much commodity-based economies, so resources. And so I think there are lots of opportunities, especially under a CEPA, for Indonesian companies to invest in Canada. And we have Indonesian companies looking at potash mines. RGE has an investment in LNG in British Columbia, and they're already talking about expansion. So there are a number of companies here that have the expertise and experience in key sectors where I think Canada is now and will become a much more attractive market.
It is very interesting. So beyond traditional commodities itself, where do you see emerging complementarities, for example, in critical minerals, clean energy, as you mentioned, agri-food, innovation, digital services, or EV-related supply chains? Maybe for the EV batteries, Indonesia has a big potential.
Yes, absolutely. And Canada is also investing in its EV infrastructure. I mean, the technologies of today and tomorrow, I think, present great opportunities to both countries. I mean, we also have nickel reserves, and we have Canadian companies that were pioneers here in the nickel industry. So I think, even though we're commodity-based economies, a lot of the new technologies to ensure clean and sustainable growth, clean energy, clean mining. These are all ways that we can work together to ensure that the resources that we're exploiting are done as clean and sustainably as possible for the benefit of of our people and our futures.
So as the top priority, Mr. Ambassador, which sector do you see most promising for future Canadian investment in Indonesia?
So Canadian investment, I see opportunities in energy.
Energy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Canada has a number of technologies, whether it be in geothermal, as an example, and other renewables, but also nuclear power. I know Indonesia is looking at nuclear power as a way to generate enough electricity for the future, but also to meet its climate targets. And Canada is a leading nuclear power. So I think there are lots of opportunities for us to go down that path together and to support each other as we develop the technologies and economies of the future in a clean and sustainable way.
Okay, noted. So maybe we'll follow up this to the Energy and Mineral Ministry regarding this collaboration between Indonesia and Canada and how it's going. So speaking to people contact or ties, societal connectivity, Mr. Ambassador, economic ties often follow human connection, of course. How does Canada assess the current state of people-to-people relations with Indonesia, including tourism, diaspora links, and also professional exchanges?
So I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think the people-to-people ties are the engine of growth, right? Between any two relationships. And, we're far apart, right? For me to get home to Ottawa or Montreal, it takes a day. But we're also trying to facilitate these people-to-people ties. So last May, we introduced new visa procedures to make it easier for eligible Indonesians to travel to Canada. And I think that will hopefully, as we implement CEPA, serve as a real boost to not only business, but also tourism, academic, and other exchanges. We have about, on any given year, 1,500 Indonesian students studying in Canadian universities. And they're doing, they're universities like McGill, University of Toronto, UBC, Simon Fraser University, right across the country. And they're great students. And I think what's great about the Canadian education system, I mean, other than it's a very high quality, but a lot of students can decide to stay in Canada to get work and have professional experience. So it allows them to use their degree in the country in which they've received it and then, come back to Indonesia. And so we want to see more students and we want to see more exchanges between our educational establishments. And of course, I think, there are labor mobility provisions to our CEPA that allow the kind of professional exchanges that you mentioned in your question.
Speaking of the educations, Canada is a popular destination for Indonesian students, 1,500, right?
1,500.
Particularly in STEM, business, and public policy. How does Canada view education as strategic pillar of its relationship with Indonesia? Because, yes, it is Canada popular to Indonesian students.
I think Canada is an attractive destination because it's a multicultural country. It's a safe country. And I think it's a very, very welcoming country. I mean, the temperature in most parts of Canada is a little different than in Indonesia, specifically in the winter. But I think that helps to build character of the student. But I think, these ties are really, really important. And it's not only the students, right? It's also the professors. Research agreements between educational institutions. I mean, these, between our research organizations, I think these kind of connections are really, really important. And because if we have more connections between our universities, that will lead to more students. Of course, we have scholarship programs, seed scholarship that's available to select universities here. And of course, we want to get more Canadian students coming here.
Expecting that.
Well, we'd like to see it. I mean, because I think, the more people we have that understand Indonesia and vice versa, I think that's really important in this globalized world.
Related to visa scholarships, is Canada also expecting more Indonesian students? Like maybe is there any certain kind of targets for Indonesian students or Indonesian tourists to visit Canada, maybe to to make the visa process easier, or maybe as in the
So we
requirements?
made the visa process easier last May.
Yeah.
So if for eligible Indonesians, it's likely all that they need is just an online, an ETA we call it, which everyone needs to go to Canada anyways. And so I think that's, in terms of ease of travel and people-to-people connections, I think that measure should increase travel between our two countries. And I recently met with the foreign minister, and I explained this to him, and he was really, really thrilled with this development.
I'm glad that you mentioned that why Canada is one of the most popular destinations for study is the SAFE. You mentioned the SAFE. That's my top of mind about Canada. People come to Canada because the SAFE. Is this the message behind the SAFE country for all the people around, for the students, Mr. Ambassador?
Well, I think, yes, we have we have safe communities. We have multicultural communities. I mean, Canada is a country built on immigration, right? So people from around the world are now Canadians and call Canada home. And I think, that makes Canada a very inviting destination for those from diverse countries that are looking to study. But we are safe. I think we have welcoming communities. Our universities are used to attracting international students, so they have the facilities available to, ease the transition to life in Canada. And I think the vast majority of students really enjoy their experiences. And for us, you can have students that decide to stay in Canada, let's say to work and maybe even become permanent residents one day. Or they come back. And when they come back, they become permanent ambassadors for Canada because they've had this great experience in Canada. So they will remember this fondly. And when they speak of Canada, will speak positively. And then who knows, in their professional lives, seek opportunities to do more in Canada.
Also, if I may mention about the image of the maybe public figure from Canada, like I remember the speech of the Meryl Streep on the awarding nights mentioned like Ryan Gosling is nice, like all the Canadians. That image, Mr. Ambassador, really hits. Maybe people really want to come to Canada as much as they want to come to Indonesia because Indonesian people are also nice. How do you see that?
Nice is there's a joke that I heard because, around the World Cup, the word that most Canadians have said, they apologize for something. Oh, I'm sorry about that. But I would say nice meaning welcoming and friendly. I think, we want people to come to Canada. We want tourists, we want students, and, they'll be treated well. Just like, my experience here over close to 3 years. I mean, it's such a warm, welcoming, and friendly country. No matter where you go, people are kind and generous to you. And that, I think, is really important.
It also shows from you, like you are very welcoming me since before this interview, Mr. Ambassador. Thank you. So Canada also has long positioned itself as the supporter of peace, multilateralism, and rule-based international order. How do Canada and Indonesia align in promoting regional stability in the Indo-Pacific?
It's interesting you mentioned that because, I was recently at the foreign ministry where we're talking about rules. And rules are important. Rules are important for trade, as we've discussed, but international law and rules governing countries is also very important. And I think, in many senses, Canada and Indonesia, as let's call ourselves middle powers, rules and countries that follow rules are to our benefit, and we believe that the rules should be followed. So I think there's great opportunities not only in the Indo-Pacific but globally for Canada and Indonesia to work together to ensure that the world is governed by rules and that we seek stability because stability is better for our people, it's better for our economies, it's better for trade, And so I think not only in the Indo-Pacific, but elsewhere in the world, I mean, Indonesia is an incredibly important partner in the global South, but in the global community. And I think there are many more things that we agree on than disagree on in terms of geopolitics and peace and security. So our militaries are collaborating. We've signed in the past year a defense cooperation agreement, a military cooperation agreement. We will have a platoon plus, over 30 members of the Canadian forces participating in exercise Super Garuda Shield at the end of August. We had the same number last year. We have ships that visit. Chief of our defense staff was here last year, head of our Navy. So this kind of collaboration in peace and security, we have trained over 700 members of TNI.
Wow. So we'll be much more than in the future?
Yeah, well, we're going to continue. I mean, I think we're doing more. We have been doing more the past few years, and that will continue. And I mentioned this training because it's really important, because it's a win-win for both sides.
Yeah.
We learn from each other.
So how does Canada balance economic purpose with environmental and social responsibility, Mr. Ambassador, in a partnership with emerging economies like Indonesia?
So I think, our populations demand it. We all want growth, but we want that growth to be green and sustainable. We also recognize that countries are at different areas of growth. And so Canada is proud to support Indonesia's energy transition, as an example. I mean, we have over $500 million invested in the energy transition. I visited geothermal plants that in part started because of Canadian investment, solar plants in Lombok. Through our international assistance program, we are helping develop sustainable farming that increases yield, but also done in an environmentally friendly way, rehabilitating mangroves and peatlands. So I think, and of course, our new and emerging technologies that I think will be very, very relevant here in terms of ensuring that the growth is as clean as it can be over the coming decades.
Wow, that's very inspiring. So looking ahead 10 years, Mr. Ambassador, what will success in Indonesia-Canada relations look like from Canada's perspective?
I think a deepening of the partnership. Of course, we want our trade numbers to go up. We want more Indonesian companies to invest in Canada and vice versa. And I think we will see that over the next decade. But also expanding our cooperation and collaboration in new areas, artificial intelligence, clean technologies, new partnerships. So I think we're very much on the right path. And I think in 10 years from now, it would be great to see our numbers much, much higher. It would be great for us to be looking at our trade agreement and saying, okay, we need to expand it to include these sectors, to deepen our level of economic integration and trade. And I'm very confident that 10 years from now, whoever's sitting in this seat will be thrilled with what's been achieved over the past decade.
Wow, looking forward. So if you were speaking directly to young Indonesians, like students, entrepreneurs, or future leaders, what would you say about Canada as a long-time partner?
So I would say that Canada is a reliable and trusted partner of Indonesia. I would say that it's a great country to visit, to study, but also we have a lot of the technologies and a lot of the trades that I think will be very, very relevant to Indonesia as it continues to grow to be a top 5 economy by 2050. So this relationship is about opportunity and it's about growth. And it's a very, very exciting relationship to be a part of.
So maybe if you have the possibility or maybe the opportunity to speak directly to our administrations, to our president, what will you say regarding this cooperation and collaborations in many sectors, Mr. Ambassador?
I forgot one thing for the students.
Yeah. Please.
Canadian culture is innovative and exciting. We're one of the largest exporters of music in the world, right? So Canada is a hip and happening place as well. Fashion, culture, music, film, television, games, artificial intelligence, we have it all. So that's another exciting thing,
Okay.
I think, for the youth. Not that older people aren't interested in music and culture either.
Since you
but-
mentioned that about creative industries before we forgot, from film and music and also digital content and gaming, also very powerful, right? Between the nation, do you see greater opportunities also for Indonesians and Canada to collaborate in these sectors, or maybe to do like the exchange knowledge exchange, something like that?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I mean, you know, it's funny over decades. I mean, culture is very much global now, right? And you know, even though there could be different languages, there are still markets and still areas for creative collaboration. So absolutely, I see great potential in that because, you know, the creative sector also is an important economic engine in both countries. And so, you know, the more we can have films being made together, our musicians working together, artists, I mean, I think that's of great benefit.
Looking forward.
And just sorry, going back to your other question, in terms of what I would say.
To the government,
to the administration. And you know, we have a great relationship with the Indonesian government. I mean, our leaders spoke at the beginning of June. I think they've developed some personal chemistry. And what I would say is that, you know, in the current geopolitical environment, but also looking forward, Canada is a trusted and reliable partner, long-term partner for Indonesia, not in terms of our mutual economic growth, but also in ensuring peace and security in the global context. So I think the Indonesian administration realizes that, you know, this is an important strategic partnership and one that both countries really want to strengthen. And that's why it's been such an honor to serve and to have this job, because it's forward-looking and it's about opportunities. There are challenges within opportunities, but it's always forward-looking. And it's always looking at how can we deepen, broaden, how can we do more together? And that makes for a really exciting job.
What message would you like to convey to Indonesian businesses looking to explore opportunities in Canada?
So I would say invest in Canada. We have an environment that is open to investment. We want to attract investment. We have high environmental standards, but we're streamlining some of our processes. And I think, you know, as we discussed earlier, Canada and Indonesia, our economies are very similar in terms of critical minerals, in terms of energy. And I think there are lots of opportunities for Indonesian companies to do more and to invest in Canada.
Wow, so invest in Canada.
And
Mr.
please,
Ambassador, in this World Cup season, Canada is also one of the hosts of the World Cup. So can you share the experience becoming the host of this World Cup? And I heard so many successes and people really loved visiting Canada during this season.
Yeah, I think the World Cup has been great, right? It's such all eyes of the world were on North America, continue to be on North America. And I think the fact that Canada was able to host so many games, to attract so many fans, and for the fans to have such a positive experience in Vancouver, Toronto, but elsewhere in Canada, I think has been really, really great and well worth the investment. But also, it's had a great impact on football or soccer, as we call it in Canada. I mean, it was already a very popular sport, but now having soccer on television, football every day, to have fans, you know, watching Canada's team do so well, to get to the final 16.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you so much. But it was a huge success for us, and so I think the future of football in Canada is very bright. And I will remind you that, you know, this is the third time that Canadian men have been in the World Cup. But Canadian women have been incredibly successful. They've won a gold medal. They're one of the top 10 teams in the world. So Canada is truly a football nation.
Wow, it's a football nation. So meaning maybe in the futures, this performance like not only final 16, the targeting to win also, yeah, the World Cup next 4 years.
Yeah, well, I think every country targets
Yeah.
to win. It's an incredibly difficult tournament, and it's I was at a dinner last night with other ambassadors, some of whom teams also lost in the final 16, and it's incredibly competitive, and people are passionate about it. It's a very exciting. The World Cup is really exciting, no matter where you are.
Yeah. So, Mr. Ambassador, this is the personal questions, maybe also the last questions for you. This is maybe the final interview here as you, the ambassador, a Canadian ambassador to Indonesia. This interview done in 2 weeks before your departure. So, is there any message? Or how do you feel living in this, of course, wonderful Indonesia, and any message maybe to Indonesian people?
Yeah, I mean, see, now you're going to make me swell up here. I will say that, very sad to leave. My family and I have had such a tremendous experience here. It's such a beautiful country. I mean, there's so many things to do, so many places to visit. You can't possibly do them all. Even living here your entire life, you can't visit every site of Indonesia. So that has been really great. And it's been great for, I have a young daughter, for her to go out and see the world.
Yeah.
Right? She's 7 years old. And she's had an experience to live here, to live in the largest city in the world, but to travel to some incredible destinations. The work has been really fulfilling, professionally and personally. I've made a number of great relationships that, even if I'm leaving, these will continue to be friends.
Yeah.
But I think, what we will miss the most, it's really the people. It's such a warm and welcoming country, and you can have all the beauty in the world and all the incredible landscapes, but the people here are just incredibly, in every community I've gone to, and I've had the benefit of traveling from all over the country, and I've been so inspired by some of the women that I've met in Banda Aceh, as an example, that are working to support gender equality in their communities. But it's really what I'll miss the most are the people. So we're very sad to leave.
Sad to leave. So we hope you to come back someday.
Oh, we most certainly will. Whatever that capacity may be, we will be back. And Indonesia has a very, very special part in our hearts and our minds.
Okay. So we wish you every success and health also in your mission as Canada ambassador, maybe in the last 2 weeks, and we look forward to witnessing this partnership to continue with Indonesia. Thank you so much, Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you so much
for
It's been a
sharing
pleasure.
the insight. And like Meryl said, all Canadians are nice. And I can guarantee that.
Okay, thank
So,
you.
ladies and gentlemen, our conversation has shown that the future Indonesia-Canada relations extends far beyond trade. It is about building trust, encouraging innovations, investing in people, and creating partnerships that are resilient, sustainable, and also mutually beneficial. I'm Iqbal Sweetami Harja. This is Jakarta Globe Corner. See you next time.